Guys, welcome in to another college football video. This morning, I saw a very interesting article on the University of Miami and their recent 2023 recruiting efforts. And it just made me think what a missed opportunity this was for the NCAA when it comes to really policing and really getting a hold of NIL recruiting. Because 2023, I've said this before, look out. It is going to be completely off the rails. Look out for programs like Miami. Look out for programs like Florida. Tennessee already, we know they gave the five-star quarterback a multi-year $8 million deal. Texas, they're going to the SEC. All of these programs that maybe haven't had as much success as they normally have, they're going to get desperate and they're going to look at Texas A&M and they're going to tell their boosters, look at what the NCAA did to Texas A&M when they blatantly cheated and took advantage of NIL recruiting in 2022. The NCAA did nothing. Complete missed opportunity. And the NCAA was served a softball. Everyone was banding together within college football. When you look at Texas A&M's 2022 recruiting class with 8 5-stars, with 4 5-star defensive linemen, with 2 5-star wide receivers, with a 5-star quarterback, with top 100 safeties, top 100 quarterbacks, a 5-star cornerback, all over the place. Everyone was banding together and using Texas A&M as the poster child for NIL cheating. And if you're the NCAA, all you have to do is investigate Texas A&M's NIL booster recruiting, slap them with a 5-year bowl ban, and I think this NIL recruiting issue gets solved. Because these boosters at these other schools, you get scared. If you make an example out of Texas A&M and you slap them with a massive bowl ban, I've proposed a 5-year bowl ban. You slap them with a massive bowl ban. The boosters at Miami, the boosters at Texas, the boosters at Tennessee, they say, hey, you know what? The NCAA is not playing around when it comes to NIL cheating. We really got to be careful. But with the NCAA not doing a single thing to Texas A&M, they put out some joke of a statement where they didn't even put out new rules. They were just guidelines. The ADs at many of these colleges got pissed that Texas A&M was so badly, blatantly cheating. They forced the NCAA a few weeks ago to put out a statement saying they were going to police NIL better. But again, nothing happens to Texas A&M. If you're Miami, if you're Florida, if you're Tennessee, if you're those programs that are trying to get better where, normally it's very tough for you to win a recruiting battle against an Ohio State for a 5-star prospect. It's very tough for you to win a recruiting battle against an Alabama for a 5-star prospect. If you have NIL on your side and you've got Ohio State and you've got Alabama who have a strict policy and you say, oh, everyone pays recruits. I'm just telling you what's being reported. Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, schools like that, they think if they give kids millions of dollars simply to come to the school, it will be horrible for their locker room culture, and there has not been a single deal I know of where it's been a specific 5-star player or whatever, 4-star player getting paid money to come to the college. The only thing I've heard of when it comes to those schools is through the transfer portal. Eli Ricks getting $1 million from Alabama. That's through the transfer portal. I'm not some Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson lover. If there's a deal that gets reported and those schools start using NIL maliciously, I'll talk about it. There hasn't been a deal. It's like the Travis Hunter Jackson State thing. Everyone went all up in arms like, oh, you can't see, Travis Hunter going to Jackson State. They literally reported that he got a multi-million NIL deal. It was reported. The kid was committed to Florida State for 2 years, and then on National Signing Day flipped to Jackson State, and there were multiple people that reported a multi-million dollar deal he got from Jackson. Well, not from, let me be very clear. Deion Sanders did not pay Travis Hunter. Jackson State boosters did not pay Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter got a multi-million-dollar Barstool NIL deal to go to Jackson State. As far as I know, that's how it happened. So Deion Sanders tweeting out, I didn't pay Travis Hunter, the boosters didn't pay. Yeah, but Barstool facilitated an NIL deal. At least that is the running rumor on how that deal happened. So it's like, if it gets reported that Ohio State is paying kids now, I will talk about it. I'm telling you, some of these schools, the way they operate, they will not pay a player just to go to a school, as opposed to Miami, as opposed to Tennessee, as opposed to some of these more desperate programs who need elite talent in their program. They are willing to pay to get players. They're willing to pay to get players, and the NCAA missed out on, listen, the 2022 recruiting class, as horrible as it was, the NCAA should have looked at it as an amazing situation to go balls to the wall, investigate Texas A&M, nail Texas A&M with a multi-year bowl ban, and you would nip a lot of this booster NIL cheating in the butt. What we do not want to have happen is for a kid to choose a school because he's specifically getting money from that school rather than going to where he could best be developed, to where he has the best relationships, to where he thinks the best position coach is. That's what was happening with Texas A&M specifically. They weren't the only program, but they were the poster child of it because they went so off the rails in 2022, more off the rails than anyone. The problem now is because you didn't do anything to Texas A&M. If you're the NCAA, you're going to see Miami go off the rails. You're going to see Florida go off the rails because those ADs and those boosters are looking at Texas A&M and saying, hey, I want that. Hey, they got 8 5-stars. The talent influx. They just had the greatest recruiting class in history. There's no reason Miami with their NIL collectives shouldn't be able to sign at least 4 or 5 5-star prospects with the help of NIL because the NCAA is not policing it at all. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to. And that's why we're seeing a story, Miami in the middle of it for several highly touted prospects. It's going to be crazy. This summer is going to be crazy. The NCAA had a great opportunity. Everyone was against Texas A&M. Investigate some of their recruiting and bowl ban them and be done with it and say, listen, we're going to set up an NIL authority board to investigate this type of stuff. And if you cheat, you will face severe consequences. The problem is nothing happened to Texas A&M, so these other schools are using Texas A&M, seeing what they did, signing all of these 5-star players and saying, we can get that. And it's the desperate schools. It's the schools that haven't been good. Florida hasn't been very good recently. Miami hasn't been very good recently. Tennessee hasn't been very good recently. Texas hasn't been very good recently. These schools are desperate. They're willing to pay. They're willing to skirt around the rules because they know if they skirt around the rules, nothing will happen. Just look at Texas A&M. It's a major issue in college football, and the NCAA is they've completely lost it. And what Texas A&M did, it's only going to encourage more schools to act how Texas A&M acted on the recruiting trail in 2022. It's a major issue, and unfortunately, this is not going to be corrected anytime soon because the NCAA, when they released a statement about how they were going to police NIL, they didn't even put out rules. They put out guidelines, which is a complete joke, and everyone knows that that's really not going to do anything at all. There's no board, there's no nothing to police this stuff. And just another quick thing I wanted to mention when it comes to like the whole Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher beef, their little argument. You watch some of these top networks like an ESPN, like a Fox Sports, and these people, they just have absolutely no clue how NIL recruiting dynamics work. I constantly hear from other people, Nick Saban does the exact same thing. When it comes to, like, Nick Saban did pay for kids 100% back in 2018, 2019. I believe he had a car dealership. He would give kids cars, whatever. But in the NIL era, we're talking about the NIL era and how Texas A&M took advantage of a situation, weaponized NIL in 2022. It's completely different. It is, and you see these people just like when you watch ESPN or any of them, they just have the simplest, the most simplistic understanding of recruiting. And it is so cringy. If you know a little bit about recruiting, you watch these people, you'll cringe. It's just like, oh my God. It's like me talking about like Steph Curry's legacy in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Like, I mean, it's just they don't know what they're talking about, and they're forced to talk about 30 different topics. I know it's hard, but it's just like these guys, just please stop talking about it. Seriously. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention, the Ohio State Buckeyes trying to get their wins back, which is a great thing. You know, with the NIL, the Buckeyes had, I believe it was 11 or 12 wins taken away back due to the whole tattoo gate thing with Terrell Pryor. I think they should get their wins back. I know Notre Dame also got their wins taken away. They should get their wins back as well. And like the whole idea of taking away wins, like Penn State had their wins taken away because Jerry Sandusky, raped a bunch of kids. Like they got theirs back. Penn State got theirs back. They appealed it or something and got them back. But Ohio State should get their wins back. It's not like they used tattoos as a way to get Terrell Pryor to come to Ohio State. The only time I would say, you take wins away is when you specifically pay recruits to come to your school and then those recruits win games for you. That's the one time I would say, you should take wins away and things like that when it's blatantly cheating. So most of the time, just give them their wins back. It'd be great to see. But guys, overall, this whole NIL thing, I saw this article on Miami and it just got me thinking about how crazy this summer is going to be when it comes to how off the rails recruiting is going to be, because the NCAA had such a great chance. Everyone is against Texas A&M. Everyone is saying Texas A&M completely, blatantly weaponized NIL. They're literally paying kids to come to the schools. We don't want that. We want NIL to be an on-campus entity, the way Alabama's doing it, the way Ohio State's doing it, the way Bryce Young got his deal, the way CJ Stroud got his deal. When you recruit a 5-star quarterback and you're Ohio State, you bring the kid on campus, you say, listen, look at CJ Stroud, look at his NIL deal. This is what you could get. You don't bring the kid on campus and say, listen, man, if you come here, we have a $6 million NIL deal lined up for you. That cannot be allowed. That's what was happening at Texas A&M. The kids have to realize NIL is an on-campus entity, and you can use NIL in recruiting and say, look how big of a city Columbus is. Look at all the opportunities in Tallahassee, Florida. You can use that, but you cannot say, if you come to this school, you will get $3 million. That's why you should come here. That's what Texas A&M did. That's why they signed 4 5-star defensive linemen, because all those kids are being paid. They didn't go to Texas A&M because they said, this is where I have the best relationships. This is where I can get developed for the NFL the best. They went there because they got 7 figures. That's why they went there. That's what we're trying to eliminate. That is exactly what we're trying to eliminate. And the NCAA letting Texas A&M go, letting them do it, you're going to have all these programs start doing it to where it's almost like if you're not doing it, if you're not cheating, you're so far behind, cheating will become the regular when it comes to recruiting, because the NCAA does such a horrible job at policing it. You guys understand the dynamics. If you bowl ban Texas A&M and you say, we're putting our foot down, we're going to create an NIL authority board, we're sick of this stuff, it cannot happen. The boosters at Miami, they'd get a little scared. The boosters at Tennessee, they'd be like, oh no. The boosters at Texas would be like, we got to be careful. They look at what's happening with Texas A&M. They see Texas A&M just completely benefit from cheating. Texas A&M, they get 8 5-star prospects. When you obviously there's going to be dynamics in the locker room that they're going to have to figure out, but they have the talent to win national titles now through NIL cheating. That's how they got it. And these other programs are going to see it. And Miami, they're a little desperate to get talent. There is no reason Miami, if they're able to use their NIL collectives, should not at least sign 4 or 5 5-star prospects this cycle. None. They should. 100%. Through NIL, through the fact that they're in South Beach, their location is unbelievable. They should have a top 5 recruiting class guaranteed. Florida, top 10 at least. So it's the same thing with Texas, It's very interesting, and it's very disappointing to see the NCAA not, they get a softball. You get a meatball right down the plate. You got to hit it. You got to swag them. Nail Texas A&M. Use them as an example. Life isn't fair, Texas A&M. I know you weren't the only guys doing it, but you are the poster boy. You're the poster child. You went crazy. You signed 8 5-star recruits. You can go get bowl banned for 10 years. I don't care. Kill their program. Kill their program. And then the other thing is you've got Jimbo Fisher, who's just a complete... Jimbo Fisher should be banned from college football as far as I'm concerned. What a horrible human being. Horrible. Just a terrible, terrible person. Really, really bad. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.